So Benjamin Butler was a militia private. He was a lawyer, a major general of U.S. volunteers during the Civil War. He was a mill owner. He was a U.S. congressman, a state senator, and governor of Massachusetts.
And Butler is well known in Civil War history, and for bad reasons and for good reasons as well.
He was known for having a pretty bad temper. So if you messed with him, you got fists. And that's kind of the way he ruled everything going forward when he became a lawyer and when he became a general.
When Massachusetts got the call-up from the War Department in April 1861 for the beginning of the Civil War, the state legislature had no allotted money, and so he got a bank loan. And he presented it to Governor Andrew with the proviso that if the bank loan went to the state for all the goods and services the militia had to buy, that he would go as the brigadier general. And Governor Andrew agreed to it, did not want to, but he did it. He accompanied the regiments to Maryland on the way to Washington, and he stayed with the 8th Regiment, today's 101st Engineer Battalion. And knowing that the 6th had been fired on days before, on the 19th of April, he decided to take the train as far as he could and take a ferry to Annapolis.
And they were stopped by a ship from the Naval Academy as they were approaching Annapolis. And one of the lieutenants on that ship said, who are you? What are you here to do? And Benjamin Butler, he declared himself, made himself known. As soon as he did, the lieutenant said, "Oh, so you're here to save the Constitution?" Butler said, "Of course I'm here to save the Constitution." But the lieutenant was referring to the USS Constitution. Butler said, "Well, I can do both."
He put on 2 companies from the 8th Regiment and sailed the ship to safety to New York. And then he received orders from Washington, send 4 columns to Baltimore, but do not enter Baltimore. So the Lynn Company of the 8th Regiment was made up largely of mechanics. They repaired the rails, and then of course they saw the damaged engines, which had been sabotaged. They repaired the engines, hooked up the cars, and rode all the way to Baltimore. The 8th Regiment entered Baltimore. Butler seized the city. He was the military commander / mayor of Baltimore.
He was moved to New Orleans, and he became the governor of the Department of the Gulf. He did clean up that city. When the war broke out, he changed. He became an abolitionist, actually formed U.S. colored troop regiments while he was there. There's something called the Butler Medal that was given out to African-American troops for bravery in battle. So he was a very progressive guy for his time, especially.
We see a human side of him. The Southerners in New Orleans, where he was the military commander, called him Beast Butler because he was so strict and hard on the Southerners that opposed the North.
So this bust was originally in a garden. It had been disconnected from its stand. It was dirty, and its nose was completely broken off. The artist is Edward Augustus Brackett, and he was a sculptor and designed this bust during Benjamin Butler's service in the Civil War. So we had an idea of who could do the work. Skylight Studios had to completely clean the marble, and then they had to create a brand new nose modeled after the original bust that is down in the Smithsonian. They created a synthetic marble and epoxied that nose to the bust we have today, and they had to reattach the base to the bust itself. I think it's important to understand and appreciate our military history here in Massachusetts, and Butler is just one piece of that, but he's a significant piece. The Military Historical Society of Massachusetts and the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War Department of Massachusetts gave us 2 very generous donations to be able to fund the project.
These kind of artifacts, these kind of symbols are important to teach people history.
He has such a noble nose. It can't be cut off for posterity. It has to be repaired. And I think it's important that we perpetuate the bust, his memory and his service, and he did play a key role in the first several months of the Civil War.
I remember Butler as somebody who was an effective administrator, somebody who could go outside the box when attempting to solve difficult issues, someone who was brought up in the militia. I would encourage currently serving guardsmen, veterans, the public to come down to the Massachusetts National Guard Museum here in Concord to see this bust now that it is fully restored, and to see Butler as Edward Augustus Brackett saw him, along with all of our objects that we have on display here, ranging in history from 1636 in the colonial wars all the way to the global war on terror and 2025.